Hi, I'm Greg Moores, and welcome to the Life Camp Show. Have you ever wanted to change your life in a matter of seconds? Well, you're going to love our guest today. He's actually a suspiciously happy man, and that's why I invited him on his show to share his secrets. His name is Arlen Berglis. Welcome to the show, Arlen.
Thank you very much, Greg. I'm very happy to be here.
So, you have a couple of formulas for how people can literally change their life in a matter of seconds.
Well, what I've done is I've come up with simple solutions to problems. And, I think meditation is great if you have the time to do it. What I've tried to do is cut down the time by controlling my thoughts into solving problems very simply. And
so by controlling your thoughts, you change your life?
Correct.
So what's your formula?
Well, I have something that I've come up with that's called the 12-second solution. And what it really is there's three different solutions. One is 5 seconds, one is 4 seconds, and one is 3 seconds. One takes 5 seconds, one takes 4 seconds, and one takes 3 seconds to learn. Now, for some people, they could do the 5 second in 4 seconds. Sometimes it takes the 3 second, it takes them 5 seconds to do it. But bottom line is, it should take 12 seconds to do these three principles.
So what are they? What are the formulas?
Well, let's start with how to be happy all the time, Greg.
You seem like I said, you're suspiciously happy, Arlen. So how do you do it?
Well, the first thing I do is I say, I put myself in a state of mind where I'm grateful for what I have.
So appreciation.
Appreciation. How long does that take to go into that state of mind where you're actually grateful for what you have?
Couple seconds.
Couple seconds. Okay. And now the second thing I do is I do nice things for other people. And the combination of the two, when you're in that state of mind where you're grateful for what you have and you just do nice things for other people, you're happy all the time.
So that's your 5 second formula? Or is
that's my 5 second formula. Although there is something that I have to add to that.
Please.
Don't expect anything in return. You're just setting yourself up for disappointment.
So the expectation kills the formula.
Correct.
So
you're not doing it. You got to understand the reason you're doing it is so you could be happy all the time.
Got it.
So you're not doing it for them. You're doing it for yourself.
I see.
So when you're in that frame of mind where you're doing nice things for other people, it's very rewarding, very exciting, and you'll be happy all the time.
So give me an example. So you're sitting here, you're in traffic, and you're getting frustrated because there's, you're sitting in traffic. What do you do?
You focus your thoughts. That leads me up to my 4 second rule.
Okay.
It's a negative thought. We're in traffic. Okay. And basically, it takes 4 seconds to turn a negative thought into a positive thought. So you have a negative thought. You're driving down the street. You're in traffic. You're upset. Okay. What you have to do is you have to recognize the negative thought. Mm-hmm. Okay. I'm in traffic. Okay, now there's nothing I could do about it. I'm in traffic. Now, that takes about 2 seconds to recognize the negative thought.
Okay. Step
number 2 is how do I make it better from this point forward? And what you're always doing is you're taking baby steps forward. By dwelling on the fact that you're in traffic, there's nothing good that can come out of that.
So what does this look like? You're sitting in your car and you're in traffic. Give me a specific example.
I'm in traffic. I'm going to be late. I might make a phone call and let them know I'm going to be late.
Okay.
Solving that problem because, if I have my cell phone with me.
But the first thing you do is you say, okay, I'm frustrated, I've got anxiety because I'm going to be late. And then you kick into the second step where you basically say, okay,
how do I make it better from this point forward?
Okay, and what is it, one baby step forward or just?
You're always making baby steps forward, so it's always a very positive thing.
Okay.
It's just the way you control your thoughts.
And you still don't set yourself up for failure by going for, like one of the things I've noticed about traffic that frustrates me is I'm not really in the car. I'm really at my destination. So, I'm kind of like there, and everything in front of me is in the way of me being at my destination, but I'm not really being present in the car. So you're reeling that all back in, and you're actually being in the car.
Correct.
Okay.
Correct.
And then, so you have the 5 seconds to happiness, 4 seconds to solving problem, and the third is the 12-second solution.
Well, we got 9 seconds. Okay. We did the 5 seconds, how to be happy all the time.
Okay.
You got the 4 seconds in turning negative thoughts into positive thoughts.
Okay.
Now, it takes 3 seconds to teach somebody how to make friends.
Okay.
It's so simple. 3 seconds. You ready?
I got it. I'm waiting.
People like people that like them. It's that simple. Voila. That's it. If people just understood that, you know, if you just show you like somebody, they're going to like you in return.
So find something to like about someone.
Love people unconditionally for the way they are. If you just learn to love people for the way they are and accept them for the way they are, they'll like you. It's that simple.
Are you married?
Yes, I am.
Okay, so let's tie this together here. You have kids?
2 girls.
Now I'm really suspicious. You're married, you've got kids, and you still claim that in 12 seconds you can find the best in all people. So say more about this. Do you use this in your life and with your marriage?
Well, you know, it's evolved. I mean, it's over a period of time I've trained my brain. I mean, I've gotten to the point now where I drive down the street and I say, come on, negatives. You know, I actually look forward to negatives because it's a game that I play with my mind. It's like, how do I, you know, I want the negative because I want to turn it into a positive. I'm playing games all day long. That's all I do is play games.
So you're in competition with your mind, asking it to throw its toughest problems at you because it makes you more excited about solving them.
Correct. It's like my job in life is to turn negatives into positives. And so I welcome a negative because that's the challenge. I love the challenge.
Now, this apparently is working well for you on more levels than just the fact that you're happy, because you're also you're retired, so you're totally financially set, and you do consulting for nonprofit organizations.
Yes, I do.
And that's all you do. You just go around, you help people get, what is it?
I spend 98% of my time doing consulting for nonprofits. I still go to my office. I have a real estate office. But most of my time is spent doing volunteer work.
So you basically have a stream of income from real estate, and you just use that to fund whatever the consulting work is that you do.
Interestingly enough, I spend very little money funding the consulting work. I actually send out a newsletter to the 3,500 largest nonprofits in the country every 2 weeks, and it costs me $30 every 2 weeks.
So what are you most passionate about? What's your mission, your vision?
I think my real purpose in life, I think, is to work with retired people.
Retired people?
Yeah. I think, you know, since I'm on this trying to make the world a better place and doing volunteer work, I really think it's the retired people that are going to change the world. I mean, these are the people that have the time, and these are the people that are looking for passion in their lives. To go to, you know, to talk to somebody that's busy raising a family and doing their job is bad use of your time.
You know, I once saw a study by a large airplane manufacturing corporation, and it basically said that people that retired, they had people retiring at age 65. And they said people that retired at age 65 and had something that they were looking forward to do, whether it was I'm going to spend time with my grandchildren or I've got a passion or a hobby in life, their average life expectancy was 26 years. And people that didn't have, they just said, I'm just going to retire, I've been working hard long enough, I'm just going to lay back and rest and not do anything and figure that out later. Their average life expectancy was 14 months.
Wow.
So what do you most want for retired people? What do you want for them?
I want to bring, what I really look for in a retired person is not the ones that are active. I want to talk to the retired people that don't have passion in their lives. I want to help them find the passion in their lives. And a lot of times it's very simple. I mean, I merely ask a retired person what they didn't have as a child growing up, and many times, you know, that something there can trigger what they could be passionate about, and then I help them develop that passion into making the world a better place. Whether it has to do with developing a program for the nonprofit they work with, or just their own program. I mean, if you have a little old lady that's good in art, and she does nothing other than get together 3 friends and teach them art once a week as a volunteer. I mean, in her own way, she's making the world a better place. And now she gets up and she has something to look forward to. And, you know, one week she could work with oils, and the next week she could work with pastels or whatever. You know, I mean, I love talking to retired people that don't have passion and helping them turn it around. It's so rewarding. It's just really beneficial. I love it.
Well, and I have to say, you have tremendous integrity, because we talked a little bit before the show, and you mentioned that, you know, working with kids is easy. Now, you also mentioned that you love going after problems, and I've worked a little bit, in convalescent homes. I was a monk for a number of years, and while I was there, I was, working in convalescent homes, and it's a tough crowd.
I mentor a third grader, Carlos, and an eighth grader, Toby. And these are supposedly kids that have serious problems. And they do. They have issues. But compared to the friends that are my age, it's
a dream, huh?
Yeah, because, these people have so much baggage. They're so negative. They just can't get past things that have happened in the past. Where younger children are so easy to understand solutions to problems.
Well, and I've been told that the difference between an adult and a child is that children have anticipation and adults have expectation.
Well, that's...
So your experience with, now you're working with people that are, these are elderly, these are retired people. I find it's really hard. You're talking about people that are not naturally motivated. They're in a retirement phase. Their energy is withdrawing a little bit more.
Well, what I found, Greg, is if a person does volunteer work and they see the results, then they get excited.
Right. So
I'm putting retired people into mentoring programs where they mentor, maybe a college kid that's about ready to graduate and go into the profession that they were in for 30, 35 years.
Yeah, that's brilliant.
And they see immediate gratification.
So you're tapping into all that experience and all those years that.
And if they see, if they're doing something and they feel they're getting, they can see the results from what they're doing, they're very excited about it. The key though is putting people in charge of their own program. That's what I do with board members for nonprofits, and that's what I do with retired people. I put them in charge of their own program. If you are in charge of your own program and you write it with your own personality, you'll give it 110%. You'll be running to the computer at 3 in the morning and writing down ideas. The reason people don't get excited about volunteer work is because usually they're handed a job that's not really their personality. It was written by somebody else with somebody else's personality. So anyway.
So what is it? So you meet somebody. I know, I had a fascinating experience with you because you were more, like you said, you're more interested in me than I was in you, and I was asking you to be on the show and all. So what do you hear? You meet a retired person. What's your approach? Because obviously you're not saying, why don't you come down and spend some time serving at our nonprofit. Where do you start this conversation?
Well, the organizations. Basically, we're talking to groups. We're empowering one person at a time, baby steps forward. I set a goal for myself. Obviously my goal is world peace. But
really?
Well, of course.
Okay.
But my daily goal is one person at a time, baby steps forward. So every day I reach my goal. And where I really make the biggest impact, usually what we'll do is we'll talk to seniors and then we'll break them down individually and help them develop their passion. So you put them in charge of their own program.
You get with them one-on-one.
One-on-one. Ultimately is where the real benefit comes in.
And what do you ask them? What do you say?
Like I said, sometimes it's as simple as just asking them what they didn't have as a child growing up.
Really?
Yeah, it's funny because that
Do they know?
They have to think about it.
But you find that's a really in creating a model for a person's life where they're very fulfilled. Go back and figure out what they didn't get as a child and provide it for them at that late time in life.
Because we want to find something they can be passionate about. You got to understand, most people don't even know what their passion is. If you ask a person what are they passionate about, I'm looking for the person that can't get out of bed. I'm looking for the person that does not have passion in their life. The ones that are active, they're doing fine, and they're doing volunteer work. I'll tell you something, Greg. One of the things that I really feel strongly about, it's the retired people now in the world that are making the world a better place. It's the retired people that are doing volunteer work. Retired people are looked at as a burden on society and they can't keep up. But if you ask a retired person, what they're doing, you'll find that they're doing volunteer work to make your life better.
So those are the people that are giving back.
They are giving back. They're giving back now. And if you ask them, they're very happy. They're very fulfilled.
So there's a belief, we have the baby boomers are basically reaching the retirement age. And most people are thinking, oh my God, what are we going to do with all these old people? Where are we going to put them? And what you're saying is we're actually not hitting a boom of burden. We're actually hitting a boom of tremendous service and growth.
The baby boomers are going to change the world. My website is babyboomerschangetheworld.org. You can also go to retiredpeoplechangetheworld.org. I'm convinced of it. The baby boomers were it was all about love. Well, love is what's going to change the world because it is all about love. And we're going to bring it back. In our retirement age, we're going to bring back the love.
We're bringing back the 60s, but we've learned a little bit, huh?
Right, exactly.
And so you also have a wife and children.
I do.
And are they involved in this? Are they supporting you in it? Or do they basically think Dad's crazy?
I'm blessed. I've been married for 26 years, been with my wife for 30 years. I got two fabulous kids, two daughters, 24 and 22. I consider my wife and my kids my best friends. One of the daughters, since I have a real estate background, she's now in real estate, so we have that in common. My other daughter is in graphic design, and she does my website, so we have that in common. My wife and I, like I said, are best friends.
Now, you recently were up at San Francisco, and your wife ran the half marathon.
And she came in third.
So she's quite the athlete.
For her age group, which is really impressive.
And you're a pretty high-energy guy.
Yes.
So you guys ever, you tend to bounce off each other a lot?
We complement each other well, and we get along great. We're most of our friends say we're a phenomenon.
So you really are relentlessly positive. Is this the family? Did you come from a family where people were...
Well, my dad was married 6 times.
There's some struggle. So what happened?
Well, I could look at it as it was really horrible that, I'd have a mother and then my father would divorce my mother, and I didn't divorce my mother.
Okay.
I could look at it as, a bad thing. But again, it's all in your thoughts. I look at it as I had 6 mothers. I had love from 6 different women.
Fascinating.
So it's just the way you control your thoughts.
So there you go again, finding a problem and just transforming it, turning it around.
Exactly.
So you use the 12-second solution with yourself. You use it with baby boomers. Do you use it with your wife?
Yes.
Because my personal policy is don't coach your. I'm a coach. I coach people all the time.
Well,
don't coach
what I have learned, I have learned to. I don't preach. I try not to preach. I'm like preaching now because I'm on a TV show.
Well, we were asking, so
you're asking. I like to teach by example. It's really the only way it works. If you start telling people how to be, it doesn't work. So I try not to do that with my wife and my kids. I try to just love them unconditionally for the way they are. I don't put my expectations on my kids. They're adults now. I feel that they're capable of making the right decision, and they always seem to make the right decision. And because of it, I think we have a great relationship. I mean, one of the things that I'm adamant about is, people say when you have teenagers, they go through the teenage years, and it's the teenager that eventually outgrows it and comes around. Well, I don't believe that. I believe it's the parent that's got to make the change. It's the parent that comes around. Until the parent stops talking down to their child, I don't believe they're going to have a relationship with their child. I mean, think about it, Greg. Would you be friends with anybody that talked down to you?
No.
So why do parents expect...
particular issues with authority and those types of things.
Okay, so why do parents expect their kids to want to be friends with them if they're still talking down to them?
So your view is that the child is maturing and going through their process, so the parent is expected to go through theirs, and the parents that say they're going through a phase are staying stuck.
The ones that refuse to believe that their children are turning into adults. 13 to 18 is probably the most difficult 5 years in a kid's life because they're going from a child to an adult.
Well, and the parents, that's what they most complain about too, because the child is gaining their independence and they're challenging all the system and the rules. And
you just have to bite your tongue. You have to believe in them. They're not going to make the same choices you made.
So what is a parent, you're mentioning it's a time where the parent changes when the kids go through that period.
If the parent doesn't change, they're not going to have a relationship with their kid.
Really?
I'm convinced of it. I see it. If you're 90 years old and you're talking down to your 70-year-old kids, you don't have a
That's
relationship
true.
with your kids.
That's true. Not a good one.
Not a good one.
So what is expected of a parent? What do you think works? If instead of talking down to your
Love them unconditionally for the way they are, with all their foibles.
Okay.
Their impressionable years ended when they were 8 or 9.
So stop
or
trying to
something.
impress them.
Impress
rules
let
and-
them be. Let them be. Let them figuring out things for themselves.
Well, there's your appreciation and gratitude thing again, just popping out everywhere here.
That's the secret, is just loving people unconditionally. You have to love people.
So
for the
what
way they are.
actually happens for the parent? Like you said, so here's a parent, what if she says, well, I love him unconditionally, but, he's going through that phase. But it seems like you're prescribing a different path.
The best psychology that I use with my kids is, I know you're capable of making the right decision. And when I say that to them, they go, oh my God, Dad's counting on me to make the right decision. If I say, I don't want you doing that, they're going to do it.
Right.
One of the things, if I'm talking to young parents that are raising kids, I like to talk about disciplining with love. And I love to tell this story, which is a fake story. It never even happened. But it's the difference between my family upbringing and my wife's family upbringing, and the way I envision what would happen. As an example, let's say I'm 15 years old and I'm supposed to be home at 10 o'clock at night, and I come home at 11:30 at night. Or my wife is 15 years old and she comes home at 11:30 when she's supposed to be home at 10. Well, here's the difference between the two. I walk in the door at 11:30. My father yells and screams, throws me in my room. I'm crying, hits me with the leather belt, probably before he throws me in my room, grounds me. That's the way he handled it, okay? Now, this is the way I picture my wife's father handling it when she comes home at 11:30 and she's supposed to be home at 10. He's sitting in the living room. She walks in the door, and he goes, so what happens? She walks up to him and goes, Dad, what's wrong? And he goes, I was so worried about you. Now, which one's more effective?
Well, but some people might consider the second to be an act of guilting, consciously guilting your child.
One is disciplining with love.
Okay.
And the other one is not. Okay?
That's
the way
a lot of
I
sense.
see it.
It makes a lot of sense.
Do you think Debbie would ever do that again? She's going to feel so bad. Oh, Dad, I'm so sorry. I didn't mean to, I should have called. It's a total, And so what happened for me growing up, I saw that side. I saw, Debbie's, parents were a major influence on my life, father especially, in that in the way he handled things. He never raised his voice. My dad yelled and screamed all the time. It went in one ear, out the other. If Debbie's dad raised his voice, everybody would go, whoa, it would really mean something. So usually people say they go in the same direction as their parents, or they go in an opposite direction of their parents, and you really went in the opposite direction. I went, in a lot of ways, I went in the same direction. In a lot of ways, I went into the opposite direction. And that's the beauty of life. We're allowed to make those choices,
What is 3 Thoughts to Perfection?
3 Thoughts to Perfection is a book that I'm writing that has to do with, the first thought to perfection is happiness. And I really believe that the problem with the world is 90% of the people in the world are not happy. And I think this is really what we should be talking about, is how do we help people become happy within? Because I really believe that you have to be a happy person before you could be a loving person. I mean, once you're a happy person, it's easy to become a loving
Okay.
person. It just flows, but you have to be happy first.
Okay.
The third thought to perfection is to become a giving person. Now, once you're loving, giving is a piece of cake. I mean, it just
Goes natural.
goes natural. The problem is we want people to be giving and they're not happy, and it doesn't work.
So your 3 thoughts to perfection are pretty closely tied in with the 12-second solution. Same
Correct.
theme.
Helping people learn to be happy within. You know, it all has to do with like world peace. Let's talk about world peace. You know, if we had world peace tomorrow, you wake up tomorrow morning and there's world peace. There's no wars, there's no hunger, there's no AIDS, everything is just beautiful. The question for you, Greg, is would you be at peace within your own family and friends? See, it has nothing to do with the world. It has to do with yourself. So stop blaming the world, stop blaming everybody else, work on yourself. That's the message.
Powerful thought. So we're wrapping up. We've got about a minute left. What would you say is the kernel message of today's show? What do you really want the viewers to walk away with?
I, as an employer, have made available to my employees, I have books and tapes available in my office. The way I see it, they're all on self-improvement, self-growth. I encourage my employees to listen to the tapes, read the books. The way I see it, every employer should be doing this. A happy employee is a productive employee. And I would like to see more people involved in, or more people checking out these books, listening to these tapes. The only people that seem to know about them are salespeople, because they're selling and they have to be on.
Right. So your message is to people is change yourself. You know, it's like Mother Teresa said when she was asked, how, you know, do you ever think we'll have world peace? And she said, yes, go home and make peace with your family. And
There
so
it
that's
is.
along the lines that you're talking about.
That's it.
Well, thank you, Arlen, for being on our show today. We really appreciate your pointers and especially your 12-second solution. I know I'll be applying it in my life.
Great.
And thank you for watching. We've been learning about self-improvement, powerful, crisp self-improvement techniques with Arlen Berglis. Have a great day.